just managed to get into a group for Crota. They started off on text chat, and I didn't realise they were on text chat until we got through the first encounter. And I was like, they must be communicating somehow to pass this chalice along. So I'm going to turn on the text chat, and then turned on the text chat, and then there was instructions in the text chat of who's doing what and what's happening. So I was like, oh, this is going good. Because normally when I join these LFGs that have no microphone, or it says microphone, not...
Yeah, microphone optional. It's like, okay, well, let's see what kind of nightmare this becomes.
Yeah, and I'd already joined like 3 or 4 before that had just gone straight to Crota, and I was like,
yep,
no, this isn't going to go very well with nobody communicating. So yeah, this group started in the text chat, and then gradually, by the time we got to Ear Utes, they were all talking on microphone. It was like, oh, thank God for that. We can communicate.
We'll start
communication is a thing.
That goes first, then we'll go. Yeah, I turned mine back on the other day because I was doing just a Ghost of the Deep run, just the Explorer match made one, and I was like, I should turn on the text chat now that I'm out of PvP, just to make sure I'm not missing communication. Because we basically just sort of there was a guy who seemed to know what he was doing, so the other 2 of us were going, we're just going to follow you and be helpful because we kind of know. I had forgotten entirely the first part of Ghost of the Deep. Like I had forgotten entirely that whole run around outside section. But once I was there, I was like, okay, I kind of remember at least the places things would spawn, not necessarily the order they'd spawn there. But man, it was doing it solo or doing it, explore match made without comms was interesting and did work. It just took significantly longer than it could have, but I got through it, and that was the important part.
And knowing is half the battle.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Night Demon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life! So, welcome to the show. Are we live? Are you broadcasting, or are we
I
just
am live? We already have somebody here that ain't been here in a while, I guess, because we're streaming on a weekday. And it's like he's just hanging out, he's just chilling.
Just don't get used to it, because this very rarely happens that we're all available at this point in time. So yeah, welcome to the show. I'm Night Demon, joined as ever by Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life and Peroty. We are here to guide you through our week in Destiny and discuss what's happened. We nearly didn't have a respawn today because it was only that I was playing with him yesterday doing a dungeon. I went, you do realise we've got a show tomorrow at this time? And he's like, oh.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah. Bless you. But yeah, we're here. We're back for another show, another week, and more Bungie drama.
I think it's just all Bungie drama at this point.
I think it's just marathon at this point, huh?
No, I think it's just drama.
Yeah, just drama, all drama, and very
all drama.
I guess Astacross has I guess his voice, he's been ill or his voice hasn't been good or something. Because I watched an Astacross video and that was not Astacross.
Did you watch the Luke one?
Who's speaking it? Which
Luke
one?
Yeah, Luke did one for a guide for the Rite of the Nine.
Yes, yes. That's right. I didn't realize who it was doing it. I did that, and I also saw Astacross trying to scam Fallout plays, as a Discord scammer that Fallout had some fun with. And that's kind of about all there was for videos this week.
I found some. Don't worry, I found some. We'll get there in the end.
Oh, I knew you would have. I did find. I don't even remember someone's video from the first go around of Ghost of the Deep going, let me just give myself a brief refresher on kind of how this works, because I vaguely remember it from running it once a million years ago when it came out. But man, I still died a trillion times in the stupid bubbles, not remembering exactly which way to go, and kept falling outside the area.
I kept telling the people, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm doing it right now, again, solo. And my problem is I kept killing my friends because...
You don't have any friends.
me as a hunter, I'm too fast underwater. So
So you're
I'm at the
spinning all
bubbles,
suffocating
yeah,
them all. Mhm.
long before they get there. And I didn't realize that they didn't respond very quickly. And I'm like, my bad. Let me slow down for you guys. Because I
Yeah,
forgot that one of the very few things that mobility is actually good for is underwater movement, because
moving
that's such
underwater.
a huge part of Destiny, right?
I never in 1,000 years would have even remembered that was a thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, remember, kids, if you're underwater, you have to share those bubbles. If you get it and your other buddy is not near you, they suffocate and drown.
Yes, they do.
The only thing they're missing is the sonic sound effect where do 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 do.
I'm not sure they're missing it. That cracking of glass and watching your screen, get crushed in front of you is a pretty good motivator.
It is indeed. So, as we're talking about the Ghost of the Deep dungeon for the Rite of the Nine, should we kind of just dive right into that one?
Sure.
See what I did there?
Yes.
See what I did there?
Sure did.
Puns, the highest form of comedy.
No, I know you were saying like you found it's nice this week doing it for the Explorer mode with the matchmaking. I have actually found it the opposite. I tried it.
Who said that? Peroty? Did I miss part of the conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, nice. I mean, nice that it's an option. Nice that you can sort of brute force your way through it.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
This is not my recommendation on how to do this, because you're going to end up. I mean, I probably went through 8 or 10 teammates for other people who also just didn't know what they were doing, to not knowing the mechanic, to just having no idea where they were going and dying in the bubbles over and over again. And I'm sure some people who probably popped in, talked on their mic, heard nothing back, and popped back out again. So not a recommendation, but just it is possible to do.
It is, but I think what I found over the last 2 weeks with doing the Explorer mode, and I do know a little bit about these two dungeons and Prophecy as well, and I found that the waypointing is extremely minimal, especially when you're kind of going through that bubble area. There's very minimal explanation of you need to grab a bubble, and if it starts cracking, or your screen starts doing the cracking noise, and your shield's going down, you're going to die. There's none of that. I mean, there's a brief explanation about bubbles, but I feel that they need to give a little bit more of an explanation. If this is the way that they're trying to get people into it, there should be guide me by the hand and take me not literally to each bubble, but to each point in those areas, because I got to one point where I'd gone around the outside following a bubble trail to an old collectible from when it was originally first came out, which I've already got, but they seem to be back in the dungeon. And then by the time I turned around to try and get to the next bubble, I died and couldn't get back. And I was like, this is really frustrating, because the bubbles lead you to that area, but it takes you nowhere. It doesn't actually take you to the next area.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that they need to do a bit more of like, you need to go here, we will take you by the hand. And maybe the bubbles need to give you a little bit more, I don't know, flexibility of where to go. And because I think it's the same amount of time as it was in the regular version. I could be wrong.
It might have been a little longer, but yeah, I mean, it sure felt like that. But I 100% agree. And honestly, that's why I kind of went to the video at the point where you have to go basically down and down and down those series of, flooded elevator shafts, basically. Because, I thought there would be some. I mean, I sort of remembered you have to go down and then jump into those little, like, fan platforms, push you back up, like, the middle into the, the non-bubbly drowning area.
Yeah.
But there was basically no guidance at all. And I'm sure, like, probably 3 or 4 people came in and left in that section. And I'm sure they probably just said, I don't know. What am I supposed to do here? Like, there's just zero direction at all.
Yeah.
About where you're supposed to go.
You're supposed to know where we're going.
I mean, I even tried pulling out my ghost and seeing if the ghost did the thing of like, you've got to go this way. There's a waypoint, and then nothing came up. I mean, that first area where you open the door to get into the archaeology area, and then you're dropping down, as you said, to get to the fans. There was a waypointing thing that says you've got to jump through this wire mesh fence that there's a hole in. And then apart from that, you're like, where do I go? Oh yeah, there's a hole over here. It tells you to go to this little hole. And then it's like constantly dropping down to different platforms. And you're like, if I didn't know where to go, I'd be running backwards and forward. I mean, I know there should be a little bit of an exploration in there, but if it's going to be the guide mode, it should take me by the hand and say, go down here, go down here, go down here. You know, each part that I've hit a different waypoint takes me to the next point. And then when you've actually get to the point where you're diving through the water, there's no waypoints. It's just like follow the bubbles, and the bubbles in certain areas just go round in a big circle. And unless you know that you've got to go off over the side, you can get lost. It's like, I'm just going round and round in circles and I don't know where to go.
Yeah. So, or over the side in the wrong place, and it says, "Oh, turn back," and you're like, "Well, I can't turn back because
there is one point that as you're falling,
this mistake, and now I just have to make this mistake a couple of times until I remember. Oh, here's the exact spot I need to go.
Yeah, there are a couple of points where you do jump off the edge and grab a bubble, and it flashed up. Turn back now. Turn back now. I'm like, no. There's another platform and a bubble there. I'm just going down to that one. Mm-mm. So I feel that if I hadn't dropped down fast enough, I probably would have died, and that would turn a lot of people off. Not saying that this is a really bad version. I think it's a really good innovation for Bungie to get people involved in the dungeons. But I'm saying that if they're going to do this again, there needs to be a bit more hand-holding, especially through like different labyrinths that we have with some of these dungeons and raids as well.
Yeah, there's still, if you didn't have at least an idea or had done it before, this version is still not going to help you get through it. I mean, maybe it's a little more forgiving. Maybe, the enemies definitely weren't hitting as hard and weren't killing you as fast. The easier from that respect. But as far as getting through it, there was next to no explanation. And can we talk about how when you do get to the final room where you have to go and basically, look through the, stand in the things, kill the knights, look through the eye holes, run into the room, kill the person, come back, stand in the places, shoot the lads. Trying, I give them credit. There is explanation there on what you're supposed to do and how the mechanic works. You know what you can't do though, Bungie? You can't read like a paragraph of text while being killed by the boss. While the boss is actively shooting you from pretty much everywhere on the map, and you're sitting here trying to read, okay, well, I stand here and I do this, and like it's like 3 or 4 sentences. Like it's a paragraph of text you're trying to read while you're being shot at.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, let me go here, let me screenshot this, let me die, let me read the screenshot, and then understand what I'm trying to do if I had no idea or little idea what I was doing. Because I got there, I basically remembered the mechanic for the most part, but I didn't remember exactly how it worked and the exact order of, do I need to shoot the knight before I look through the thing? Do I need to go into the side rooms first, or is that the second phase of it? And it's like, I appreciate that there's text there, but man, is that text maddening to try to read while you're getting shot and killed from everything. Like, you couldn't have just given us, a hey, here's 2 places on the ground, I mean, I appreciate you highlighting the 3 spots, you drawing the lines between them, you being like, hey, here's the 3 things you need to look at. But not being able to process that in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
without
while you're getting shot by everything across the whole map.
Yeah, it's like, could I try to read this, Bungie, and actually read and understand? Because it's not the easiest mechanic to get. It's not just like stand here and shoot here. It's like, no, you have to look through here and see that symbol on the other side. Like, you couldn't have given us a second to read that without us being pummeled by enemies. So again, like, it's in the right direction, but it's still not, I think, quite the intro to a dungeon that I would expect if Bungie's like, oh, here's the thing, it's match made, it's exploration. When I think exploration, I'm like, yeah, there's things there, but I can explore a little bit. I can figure this out. And you still really just need to have a guy, either a Sherpa guide in person or a video at your side going, where do I go? What am I trying to do here?
Yeah. And I think that is quite evident when you get to the first boss. I can't remember his name, where he runs around underneath the water to start off with. If you didn't know that you needed to go to that area where it whooshes you straight up, you're running around in that bottom area and there's a boss that you can't kill, and you're like, where do I go to start kind of get to the area that we need to start doing a boss encounter? It's like, there's no direction for that area either when you kind of drop into that water.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it drops you in and says, good luck. Hope you know what you're doing.
Good luck from here.
It
Wow.
is funny
You
how
guys
much of
have
it
said a
comes
whole lot
back.
of things about the normal mode. Have you even tried the hardest mode yet?
No, tell me about the hardest mode.
Oh,
Tell
hardest
me
mode
how
is
much worse that
really
is.
hard. Everything just wants to sneeze it. Like, okay, the first example where the secret chest is, if you make the mistake and go into any one of those doors first, you have like, I think I was killed by 14 acolytes all shooting in the same direction all at the same time. I was like, oh, this is awful. Yeah, because you don't know that they're there. You go through the water that you can't see through, and now you're exposed. And they're like, "Hi, how you doing? Time to die." And they all look at you. Even if you like all go through as a team, the first guy in just gets trounced like immediately. So, and then you have the revive tokens on the hard mode too. So there's a token right there that gets used up almost immediately. But the bright side is you can farm the first encounter, which is what I've been doing. And apparently, I don't know anything about these guns yet because I haven't looked into them. But I have a No Survivor submachine gun that's got rewind, sword logic, heel clip, incandescent with a stability masterwork. And Hurricane said that was a 7 out of 7 max roll, and I was like, what? Because I don't know anything about these guns yet, right? I came in here because somebody was talking about the Cold Denial rocket launcher, how its perk is broken because every time you revive somebody, it loads a reload for you, and that can stack multiple times. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I was told, right? And that's why everybody's like farming this rocket launcher, because you can spam rockets with this rocket launcher now. And I was like, that's pretty nifty. It really is. But once you get past the first part, where you got to fall through all the bubbles and everything like that, and you get to the second part, that boss, you can just sit there, and as soon as you kill that hive light guardian thing, you die, and then you restart, and you can just keep farming that one chest over and over and over and over and over again. And once you learn the encounter, you can even solo it, which if you're watching the stream, I'm not doing great right now because I'm being distracted. But you can even come in by yourself if you want to just solo it after the fact. Pretty nifty.
Yeah, I've got a video for that, but I think the thing is with that, to try and get into the ultimatum mode, even just if you haven't got people online, getting in an LFG where it isn't a farming place is quite hard, because nobody wants to do a full run in the ultimatum mode unless you've kind of done it with your friends already. It's all just, we want to stay here and we want to do farming. So I found that a little bit difficult to actually join a group, and the same with the Spire last week, where they got a farming area. That was it. People were set up on the LFG. I'm not saying that the LFG is a bad thing, but I'm saying that it's quite hard at the times that I'm trying to play to try and get people to try and do the ultimatum mode so that I can actually get my emblems and I can get the seal and X, Y, and Z. So it's a good idea, but it's going to be one of those things like the Pantheon where I kind of miss out because I haven't got the teams to play with, or I haven't got the people to play with at the time. Maybe I'm going to have to turn to the farming so that I can at least not lose out on some of the weapons and get something from it.
I mean, it's a really easy farm. I mean, I'm doing it with just a one person, and if you have two people, I mean, it's definitely doable. The hard part is just getting to that checkpoint initially, which admittedly can be a bit annoying, but once you get there, then you're there, and you could just, die and keep repeating until you're done with the looting,
Yeah, if you use one of the checkpoint bots to get you there, just get yourself that checkpoint if you needed to.
Yes,
yeah,
they are in the show
checkpoint
notes.
bot. I'm gonna be upset because I did this with Hurricane yesterday. To get to this point took like an hour. So if there's a checkpoint bot for that, damn it! I wish I would have known.
Yeah, I'm assuming the checkpoint bots will have this spun up at some point. But yeah, that's honestly part of the reason I just did the Explore Match Made 1, because I kind of had some time, so I knew I didn't really care how long it took. Yeah, and again, it was not a quick or convenient route to get there, but it got me. I picked up the quest. I said, let me just get a completion of it done. One, just to kind of refresh my memory on it, because again, I haven't run it since it came out and I have the 1 clear on it then.
Yeah.
And 2, I was just like, well, let me at least get through this, get my quest done, get that out of the way, and then I can, run it again for. Then I don't have to care about the completion as much. I can say, well, yeah, if I get into a farming group or run through it with some people and we get part of the way through, it doesn't really matter. Like I've gotten the completion and I can go to that second chest and at least get, open that up and have that available to me. I've got some weapons I still need to go and look because again, it showers a bunch of stuff on you and I'm going, I've got some cold comforts and I've got some some machine guns. I've got a handful of other things I need to look and see. Are you any good? So they're just sitting in the vault waiting to be evaluated.
Yeah, well, that's good. At least you got some cold comforts. Apparently, that's the go-to. And the role is not what I thought it would be. I thought the role would be Envious Arsenal and then the bait and switch, but apparently it's not. I forgot what the first role was, but the second role is not bait and switch. It's the elemental honing for some reason. Like, oh, good, it's a 50% bonus. I'm like, yeah, but it's, to me, having all those elements up at once seems like it'd be a chore to do over and over and over again for a DPS phase. Whereas Envious Arsenal bait and switch, not only do they feed into each other, but I mean, it's a lot easier to just get that procced, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Just keeping like 5 stacks of elemental honing up at once seems kind of like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it just depends on what you're building into. I mean, if you're running a prismatic subclass, you can probably get there fairly easily. Again, if you're spec'ing to it and that's what you're trying to run. But I don't know. I was just like, I haven't cared about a rocket launcher in a while, so I was like, well, let me go get some rocket launchers and see what else it wants to give me.
Yeah. Are you looking for anything in particular, Night Demon, or?
No, not really. Haven't been very well this week. So apart from just doing the odd dungeon with you for the last couple of days, today was my kind of first day back playing. And I wanted to get on and do some Crota runs because I want to get my Necrochasm. So I need my Oversoul bits. And I also want to get an Abyss Defiant so that I can craft it. Because apparently it's doing really well in Crucible. And
yes, it is.
I mean, I've got a few of them.
The pulse rifle or the scout?
Auto rifle. It's the solar auto rifle.
Oh, I can craft that one. What's the role for PvP for that one?
Well, you're going to have to watch the video that I put in the show notes later. But yeah, they're saying that it's doing really well because it's a high impact frame, and the high impact frames have just got a buff. And I'm like, well, I've got 3 out of 5, so I can, if I can go back in and do a run of Crota, I can at least buy one at the end, which I was able to do. So hopefully I should be able to craft it maybe for the next Iron Banner. But, I'm like, yeah, I really want to get some more high impact frames because I really do enjoy using my old, the Half Dandy. It's just where we've now unsunset these weapons. It's like, it was doing fantastic beforehand and it's now doing amazing because it hasn't got like an origin perk or anything like that, but it's got moving target, dynamic sway reduction, and steady rounds, and it's got a scope on it. So it's got GB iron scope, or you can switch it out to an LB assault, and it's 90 range, 35 stability, but when it starts hitting with the dynamic sway and the moving target, it's like an automatic scout rifle. It's fantastic, and apparently the Abyss Defiant is doing really well in Crucible. And I think it was like something like Zen Moment and the Sword Logic perk that they were using on their weapon. I've got one that's got Zen Moment and Kill Clip on there with ricochet rounds and small bore. So it's got 95 range, 62 stability. The recoil is 86, so it's down the middle. It's got a magazine of 37. So if I can craft that and then enhance it even better, that's what I'm looking at trying to get. So yeah. That and what's also been doing really well for me in trials, because I did do a bit of trials at the beginning of the week, even when I was feeling a bit rough, and I managed to get to the lighthouse. I think it was less than an hour and a half, and it was fantastic. I've been using my Fang of Ear also from the Crota Rite.
And that one is the scout rifle, right?
And that one is the scout rifle. That is the Strand scout rifle, and it hasn't got anything amazing on it, but it's got Sword Logic and Killing Wind. But I've always been a fan of those rapid fire scout rifles, and ever since I think it was the Scorpion SR4 or SR5, which was the ARC one that we had way back when the game first came out. And I was like, these are amazing, very underrated. And sometimes they go out of fashion. Sometimes they come into fashion, depending on what Bungie are actually doing with buffing and nerfing. And the same with like the auto rifles as well. So like at the moment, we've got like the crate style auto rifles. They were really good at one point. We had the Valkadin, and what else was there? There was another version of it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those auto rifles come in and out of kind of doing really well. And at the moment, it's the high impacts. So I'm looking at kind of, as I said, the Abyss Defiant and my Fang of Ear Utes, because again, they're doing really well in Crucible. So I'm not really orientating with the dungeons as yet. I'm saving my manifolds, and hopefully when the Prophecy dungeon comes up, I'll be able to then do my choice of weapon and actually focus for those weapons, because I think I wanted the pulse rifle. I also like the auto rifle as well from that dungeon.
Speaking of the manifolds, every one of these runs I was doing last night was giving me like 15 or 20 manifolds, and at the end of just a few of these runs, I had enough to open that chest 4 times.
You don't need to stop opening the chest. Save your manifolds.
No, but I was getting the cold denial. There was a point to it.
Okay, fair enough.
You can focus cold denial right now. So
you can, yeah. That is one thing that is good that they've changed, because I think it was last week we were saying that you could go to the Rite of the Nine and just pick up any of those weapons that are on the back and say, right, I want to focus that one, even though that one's not in the dungeon. This week they've turned that all off, so it's only the weapons that are available in that dungeon that you can focus, which is a good change, but they should have mentioned it. And also, you're not allowed to bring your Sparrow into that area anymore. Respawn.
Yep, I know.
I was like, I want to get to the emissary faster. Pull out my Sparrow. No, I've got to walk.
You have to take a long stride. Yeah, this week I've played, honestly, like other than doing the one dungeon clear just for the quest completion, I've been playing a lot more competitive PvP and Iron Banner PvP. One, because I jumped on the Warlock because I said the Warlock is the PvP character. That's just what it is in my brain right now. So I jumped on and played my competitive matches to try to get another role of the weapon that shall not be named. That
Redrix.
The Redrix S-Stock. That I got a terrible roll of and trashed immediately. But I was like, let me just play around and just, because I'm down there in the bronze, so I'm not a good player, but I'm down there with the also not good players, so it feels nice to play 3v3 against them.
Yeah.
And, other than people being, a little better or a little worse, it's not the disparity that I'm seeing in Iron Banner. And I had this Aisha's Care pulse rifle from Trials that I got, I couldn't even tell you when, with Headseeker and Zen Moment, ricochet rounds and small bore in it, that just feels like magic. I feel legitimately good. Again, playing people of my skill range, which is low, but it's got 100 range, 74 stability on it, 43 handling, 42 reload speed. It just feels really good. I have 69 kills in Crucible with it at this point, and I picked it up and started using it this week. It just feels really nice to use and feels like I feel like a halfway competent player playing with it. So that was just fun to sort of find that and pick it up and say, I actually feel like I'm doing okay. Did fine in 6s, did fine in Iron Banner. It's still just, there's too many people with too many hand cannons from too many angles to really, sort of be able to judge your competency or not. And I played a bunch of Eruption this week instead of doing Control, partially just because the matches I was getting into, it was basically like a game of bunch ball, which is, if you've ever seen a bunch of small children play, any team sport like, soccer, football on the field, they just run around in a bunch. That was basically what my Iron Banner teams were doing. It was basically like, oh, you're the flawless guy? We're going to follow you. We're going to help you. We're going to defend you. We are going to stick to you like glue and just follow you around the field. And so that's what we've been doing. We've won, I've won a bunch of games, lost a bunch of games. It still doesn't feel like what I'm doing really matters in the outcome. Neither does our, flawless god on our team, because the other team had 2 of the flawless gods, and now we lost anyway, but I don't know. I've been enjoying the Eruption because it feels like a game mode that you just can't take seriously because of how it's designed. Oh, you're doing well. Oh, better keep doing well or you're dead. Oh, well, you did too well. Now you're dead. Tough. Go back and do it again. Like, it just, I don't know. Feels like a game without stakes because win, lose, draw. I'm getting the weapons. I'm getting drops. I'm getting those new nature acclaimed scout rifles to drop. I got one with an incandescent heel clip roll. So I've played with that a little bit, and I don't know, feels good. It's nice to have a new weapon to play with. It's, I don't know, something I might actually use.
Well, for a short amount of time, you'd be able to use it without it being in the tier system, because they didn't say that these new weapons that they've introduced, like the pulse rifle in the Nightfalls or the Iron Banner one, are all going to be part of this new tiered system of weapons. They've only the stuff from the Rite of the Nine seems to be in the tiers. They might come out later on and say, "Oh, by the way, we did mean to say this is in the tier system."
Yeah, I mean, I would assume the newer stuff would also be brought forward, because then why give it to us? But who knows? If it's not, again, it's not like it's nothing I've I'm not out here grinding, going, oh, I really need to get my new Cruel Mercy Adept roll, and I need to get this done. If it comes forward, great. If not, it goes in the bin, and I replace it with better stuff.
Yeah. Just going back to my Trials experience this week, I played 11 games and still got to the Lighthouse. That's ridiculous. The amount of times that beforehand where we've played Trials and we just banged our heads against the wall and just couldn't get there. Only took me 11 games, wins and losses all the way. And the Dead Cliffs, they changed the spawns. So it was really weird where they'd spawn the two groups in, because you were like opposite each other on the map, but you weren't in the normal locations that you were. So it was a little bit off-putting, and I think that did help how the map played out. And some of the matches I was able to kind of go round behind the other team without them even seeing me on the radar and come up behind them and kill them from behind. So we got quite a few wins from me just kind of running around the whole map while my two teammates were distracting them near the capture point. I came around the corner with my scout rifle, bang, 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 distracted them even more, and then everyone was dead. So that worked out pretty well. And
nice.
it's just what I want to kind of do at some point, because they have changed. Well, they did say last week, we went over it, that they've changed how they do the twos and the trios in Trials. So I want to go back in and see how that works with us two kind of playing, that we're not then being matched up with other 3 stacks. We just want to go 2 stack and see who gets the Trials God single player on their team, kind of thing. That was changed last week, wasn't it? But we haven't had this week, and it hasn't kind of rolled into another Trials yet. So
yeah, I mean, I think, wasn't that one of those things where they said, we've made it less likely for this to happen, and if you do, then it still sort of gives you that loss prevention. If you do end up with a 3 stack, then it gives you the, you still take the loss, but it doesn't count, basically.
Okay, so it's this week, so May 20th. Yeah, it's update 8.2.6.2. So adjusted the matchmaking settings to reduce instances of duo fire teams matching trio fire teams. So that's what they did with that.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like before they had the or maybe I'm just thinking of when you join mid match, or when someone leaves you, it gives you the loss.
No, that seems to only be in competitive. You get that loss prevention. In Trials, it's like, nope, you lose. That's it.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't. Too many modes, too many variations. I don't remember how this works. All right, well, never mind then. But yeah, I'd be excited to play it and say I'm a duo. Don't put me up against the trios, because they're going to win. Or it's going to be like the couple of guys we ran into weeks ago, just saying, we're doing this just for the laugh, to be in here. We are not good at this, and we just want to go play and get our 3 stack loot and get out. Which I
mean, I know it's hard for Bungie, isn't it? Because when the system sees 3 players that are all in a fire team that are all kind of communicating, it's then hard to adjust to say, right, they are just in there to just, they're not top skilled PvP players, so we're not going to put them up against Frostbolt and his other 2 buddies. But it's quite hard not to do that. It's like, I guess they try and do that, but
I mean, but is it though? I mean. Like the matchmaking and all that, but I'm like, you're Bungie. You have all the data. You know everything about all of these players. You can look and see none of these players have ever been flawless. None of these players have, a good, a positive Trials KD,
Yes.
I'm not saying it'll be perfect, but there's things you could and should be able to do to make this an easier experience and to actually have competitive matches. You have all the information. There's things you could do to make this better, and you don't.
I mean, we may actually be able to persuade Respawn to join us one point if it does get any better.
That feels like a big if. I'm not sure it'll ever get that much better.
No. We'll see how that goes, that plays out. But also, with the update, they fixed an issue where some of the Rite 9 weapons were dropping at 0 power, so they fixed that. They fixed an issue where explosive payload was dealing less damage than intended on aggressive frame scout rifles. They fixed the Arc Titan, where the Storm's Keep could discharge bolt charge on allies or immune objects. They fixed the Ornament, where the Cinder Pinion Grass could not be converted into universal ornaments. And they fixed the currency issue, where the Cuirass of the Nine within the vault could not be converted to the nonary manifolds. They've also fixed an issue where the New Land Beyond was not displaying the correct upsells. They fixed an issue where the Rite of the Nine Explorer mode required PlayStation Plus to access. And they fixed an issue where the Magnificent One Triumph could not be earned when completing Spy the Watcher on Eternity difficulty. And if you're worried that the Judgment had an extra E in it, they've removed that. So don't worry about that.
And apparently the cinematics were missing localized subtitles. So if you were getting subtitles in a language you didn't understand, now you should be able to understand it. Or you've turned them back off and we'll never know.
Yeah. This is your weekly rundown of episode Heresy, week 17, starting on May 27th. This week sees the second week of the Ghost of the Deep dungeon in the new limited time event Rite of the Nine, which is free to all players with no dungeon keys required. Found in the Eternity node, each week one dungeon will be the featured dungeon for the week, with the Ghost of the Deep, Prophecy, and Spyro the Watcher. Rite of the Nine is available in 3 versions. Explorer mode for Guardians who are new to dungeons, with tooltips explaining mechanics, no darkness zones, 5-second revive timer, and waypointing. Eternity mode for more experienced Guardians, and Ultimatum mode for a tougher challenge, tougher enemies, tougher modifiers, and greater rewards. With a selection of 12 returning dungeon weapons with updated perks, a new 9 theme aesthetic, and even adept weapons for those who take on the hardest challenge. If dungeons aren't your thing and you finished up episode Heresy story, you have some time to catch up before the Edge of Fate begins on July 15th, giving you some time to finish anything from episode Echoes, episode Revenant, as well as Heresy. Or you could complete your Nightfall Conquest seal, play some Gambit, or even go for Ascendant in competitive Crucible. Act 2 of episode Heresy brought with it the new activity, the Court of Blades. Set within the Dreadnought's Hold of Souls area, players are transported to different arenas across the system, from Io to Europa and on board a Hive warship. Court of Blades has 2 difficulty options, Normal and Expert, with adept versions of the Act 2 weapons only dropping in the Expert version. Also, the Grandmaster Nightfall node is available, giving Guardians the opportunity to complete their Conquest seal for this episode. With this node becoming available, this gives Guardians the chance to complete all of the Act's Grandmasters, some of which are now not available. Warden of Nothing on the Dreaming City, Sunless Cell on the Dreadnought, Insight Terminus on Nessus, Psyops Battlegrounds Moon, Lake of Shadows on the EDZ, Scarlet Keep on the Moon, Hypernet Current on Europa, Heist Battlegrounds Mars, and the Psyops Battlegrounds Cosmodrome. Act 1 of episode Heresy brought with it the new 3-player activity, the Nether. Set within the Dreadnought Patrol Zones, Guardians fight in random and varied encounters with different events and objectives every time. The Nether has 3 modes: the Nether Exploration for those solo types who want to just explore the Dreadnought, a match-made mode on baseline advanced difficulty, and a selectable non-match-made expert version. From Act 3 of episode Revenant, we have the new exotic mission Kel's Fall, where you can earn the new Void Exotic Shotgun Slayer's Fang, and new Prison of Elders challenge Kel's Vengeance, which can be found over in the Last City for 2 to 3 players. Act 2 of episode Revenant brought with it the Tomb of Elders, and Contest of Elders over in the Last City, which can be accessed after you complete the initial steps of Act 2. Also available for a weekly pinnacle is the Salvation Jade Raid, over in the Pale Heart, and new dungeon Sundered Doctrine, which can be found over on the Throne World, with the exotic linear fusion rifle Finality's Ager up for grabs, and a whole suite of new weapons and armour. Just make sure to visit Icor over in the tower to pick up the quest Drowning Labyrinth to enter. Over in the Last City we have Onslaught Salvation, which can be accessed after you complete the initial steps of the opening act of Revenant. This version of Onslaught brings with it new defences, 3 maps that are not in the Vanguard playlist version, and new enemies to fight. You can select from Widow's Court, Eventide Ruins, and Kel's Grave, either normal or expert. Also, the original Onslaught has been updated to include some of the new additions. Located in the Vanguard playlist, the featured Onslaught map this week will be Midtown, with the Fieldraiser Tormentor kicking off the boss rotation. In the Last City on the Helm, the exotic mission Encore is still available, with 2 difficulty options, normal and expert. Also, from episode Echoes, we have the 3 new battleground activities, Delve, Conduit, and Core, with Enigma Protocol and Breach Executable. The expert battlegrounds will start this week's rotation with Delve. The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Ria Silvia and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blind Well features taken enemies and the Plague Ina Mina. The Ascendant Challenge will be the Keep of Honed Edges over in the Harbinger Seclude. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep. The Trove Guardian is located in the Hellmouth, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Fallen Council in Archer's Line. Nightmare hunts Dydron, Servitude, Tanix, Isolation, and Scolus Pride. The Altars of Sorrow will start this week's rotation with the Nightmare of Fogoth and the Blasphemer Shotgun. On Europa this week, Praxisi Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. Days of Eternity Expert difficulty rounds are Hive, Vex, and Valister Arc. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Perfectus armor set will be available in Days of Eternity with Weapon Set 2. Scathelock, Extraordinary Rendition, Brass Attacks, Threaded Needle, Code Duello, Imperial Needle, Far Future, Honor's Edge, Distant Terminus, Interference 6, Shepherd's Watch, and Annual Skate. The Witch Queen weekly story mission is the Communion, Altar of Reflection's Choice, and Altar of Reflection's Pact. The Wellspring activity will start the week on attack, with the Kinetic Bow, Feltar Diddle, and Borragon Hive Knight as the boss. The Lightfall weekly mission is Downfall, the Partition mission will be Hard Reset, and the Vex incursion will be Liming Harbour. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is still available for teams of 2 Guardians, where you can farm the mission to earn as many new prismatic exotic class items as you like. The Final Shakes Cooperative Focus campaign mission this week will be Ascent. The 12 Guardian Matchmade Excision mission is also available next to the race for a weekly pinnacle, with the Grandmaster version granting the Ergo Sum Catalyst and an Ascendant Shard. The Salvation Jade Raid Challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Verity, called Varied Geometry. The Root of Nightmares Raid Challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Scission, called Crossfire. The Kingsfall Raid Challenge this week is the 1st encounter, Totems, called The Grass is Always Greener. The Vault of Glass Challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Oracles, called The Only Oracle for You. The Deep Zone Crypt Challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Tanix, called The Core 4. And the Garden of Salvation Challenge this week is the 1st encounter, Embrace, called To the Top. Featured Pinnacle Raid 1 will be Val the Disciple over on the Throne World, and featured Pinnacle Raid 2 will be The Last Wish over on the Dreaming City, with all challenges available for all encounters, with the Exotic Pulse Rifle Collective Obligation being farmable from the final boss in Val, and the Exotic Fusion Rifle 1000 Voices from The Last Wish. Featured Pinnacle Dungeon 1 will be the Grasp of Avarice over on the Cosmodrome, and featured Pinnacle Dungeon 2 will be the Warlord's Ruin over on the EDC. The Exotic Mission Rotator will be Operation Seraph Shield, with the Revision Zero Exotic Pulse Rifle being the main reward, the Season of the Seraph weapon set, and Ikelos weapon set, with the Warmind's Avatar armor set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and 0 Hour will also be available in the Legends tab. We have now had all of episode Heresy's challenges over the first 16 weeks of the episode. So, as a reminder, if you complete 108 out of 112, you can get a large pile of Bright Dust to spend at the Eververse store in-game. Lost Sectors, Tuesday Hydroponics Delta on Neptune, Wednesday Gilded Precept on Neptune, Thursday Thrilladrome on Neptune, Friday The Broken Deep in the Pale Heart, Saturday The Blooming Deep in the Pale Heart, Sunday Bunker E15 on Europa, and Monday Perdition on Europa. The Grandmaster Nightfalls continue this week with our 17th featured Nightfall, which should see us face off against the Mad Warden in the Warden of Nothing over on the Dreaming City, with the Scintillation Linear Fusion Rifle as the featured adept weapon. The 6v6 playlist will be Control, the 6v6 quick play mode should be Relic, Showdown should be in the Small Teens quick play, and 4v4 Checkmate Mix should also be available, with Trials of Osiris returning at the weekend. This week should also see bonus Gambit Reputation available all week long. And as a reminder, the annual Moments of Triumph continue, with a collection of 33 challenges celebrating everything you've been able to achieve in this past year. If you've been active, you'll likely already have some of these completed, which just gets you closer to the 26 you'll need to earn the 2024 seal and title. Still available is the Destiny 10th Anniversary in-game celebration event, and don't forget to keep an eye on Zer this Friday at Reset to see if he's offering another chance to grab a random world exotic class item for 41 strange coins. And that's it for the 17th week of the Final Shape episode Heresy.
So we had a TWAB this week. I mean, you barely know it, but it did exist.
I did see Aztecross's video on it. It was like nothing burger with a side of fries. It was like, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. I mean, what were we expecting? I mean, it's been a very tough week for Bungie, but
they're teasing us with this, longest TWAB ever. But I'm guessing we're going to get that closer to a release of something and not just say the big clarification of we're going to give you every dungeon for 3 weeks. I mean, yep, that's what we said. I mean, nope, it's going to be every 2 weeks. Just kidding. And then we're going to do a big, we're starting a lot of, Ludapalooza at the end of it. So they got all that out at least. And hey, here's what you're actually going to get.
But they have defined what's actually going to be happening. So we've got Ghost of the Deep this current week, and then next week we've got Ghost of the Deep again, but they're going to increase the rewards and weapon drops from enemies next week. And then from the 3rd of June until the June 17th, Prophecy will be available. But for the first week, it's just normal Prophecy with the normal drops that we're kind of getting this first week that goes to the deep. But then from June 10th, they're going to increase the rewards up until the 17th. And then week of June 17th to the 24th, all the Rite of the Nine dungeons will be available to play at any time on any difficulty. And then we have increased currency drops for all dungeons of the week of the 17th of June. And then from June 24th until July 8th, all the dungeons are available and one will have increased currency rewards. So the first week will be Spire on the 17th. The 24th of June will be Ghost of the Deep. And the 1st of July will be Prophecy, that you have increased currency rewards. And then from the 8th of July until July 15th, there's going to be a Luta Palazza. And that just means lots of stuff. So if you don't get what you're getting now, you can get it then.
Yeah.
And apparently there's going to be a new way that they're going to turn it on, how to spend our nonary manifold currency. They haven't turned it on yet, but it's going to be turned on.
That should be new.
Yeah.
Well, that's the future. Right now we have, Ghost of the Deep in rotation. It's your last week to get your Adept Slammer Sword. And we have both bad wizards and good wizards.
Can we talk about the Slammer Sword for a minute?
We can. It's your last week, so you better do it quick.
Bungie, this again is a plea. Can we have the information ahead of time?
No.
Please.
No.
Denied.
I know you speak for Bungie at this point, Respawn, but it gets very repetitive to say, can we have the info? I mean, this little bit of information, somebody might have wanted to get a Slammer Sword Adept, and
Maybe
they may have not planned to be on this week, or they're on holiday or whatever. So they've completely lost out because they didn't know ahead of time they've got to get on and do this. So a little bit of information like that is not going to hurt somebody like 2 weeks ago. Say, oh, this is coming up. By the way, this week will be your last week to get it. And then last week when you had a TWAB, go, remember next week our Nightfall will be this and the last chance to get the Slammer. And then in this TWAB, you go, oh, you've only got a couple more days. Because that's literally, as you put the TWAB out, 3 or 4 days. That's it.
So you're saying the Thursday, telling people on a Thursday, assuming they see it, that they only have until Tuesday morning to get this done is not enough time?
No. Because sometimes when these TWABs come out, it's very late in the UK, which means it's even later in Europe, which means it's later further round you go to the point where, time is way ahead, like in Australia. And there's like X amount of you've got to sleep, you've got to go to work, and you've got to come back. And by the time you get to see a video or listen to a podcast about it, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize I could do this. Oh, well, it's over and done with. Like a lot of things in the TWAB. It's a plea from me to you, Bungie, to say some information can we have ahead of time? Charity things. If you're doing a charity thing, let us know ahead of time. If you're not going to do a charity thing or a stream with things that you said in the TWAB last week, it'd be handy to say in the TWAB this week you're not going to do it. Just throwing it out there.
So, like, for instance, our Netherlands correspondent, Don, sent along the Bungie Foundation saying, update, this month's Bungie Bounty for Good is being rescheduled. We'll be back next month. Our new emblem, Faster Than Light, will be available starting in June and will be featured for Bungie Bounties into 2026. There'll be plenty of opportunities to support our amazing charity partners and earn these sweet pixels. See you again soon.
Was that in the TWAB this week?
You would never guess where that was not, because I did not see it anywhere.
See, he's saying Don did that for us, is what he's trying to say.
No. Don found that on X or Twitter.
Oh, Bungie Foundation. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I don't know why people still hold out. He legally bought it. He legally changed the name. But people just on principle are holding out. It's like, bro, the name's been changed. Get over it.
Listen, when you've been typing TW into your browser since 2006 and it still works, you're not going to stop. Break it, and it'll break the muscle memory. It can be X the Everything app if it wants to be, but it's still Twitter. It still works. That's what it still is. I mean, I couldn't tell you when this thing was supposed to be, because I remember them talking about it weeks ago. And again,
no, it was last week. They announced it last week that, where was it? Last week they said the Bungie Foundation happening The Bungie Bounty for Good returns next week with a brand new emblem up for grabs. Join us in the Crucible May 22nd at 10 a.m. PT. But that didn't happen.
And we all learned the respawn, and Night Demon and I didn't go fast. We didn't get our Slammer Sword.
We did not.
We have a chance still, but not really. But you can be a good-looking wizard. Festival of Lost 2024 was a year of the wizard, apparently. And the community came together to vote for wizard-themed ornament sets. They are called, by most of the community, the Good Wizard and the Evil Wizard sets, and the results of the votes were clear. Evil Warlocks and Hunters, but good Titans. And if you didn't get those sets, they're available for Bright Dust in the Eververse store.
Right now.
Which the British man has already told you about. They're there, and you can buy them for exactly how much.
Well, Respawn, did you purchase your one this week, didn't you?
No, I wanted to, but I'm a little bit short on my
Bright Dust.
Yes. And then I spent silver to get the
get your heavy metal.
So I didn't have to play that PvP mode.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just going to put a PSA out there for any hunters. I think it's the hunters set. Do not put a white shader on that hat. Just don't do it. Just steer clear away from white. Black, but not white.
Okay.
As we've learned, nothing shiny. Nothing shiny at all. The darkest, dimmest shader you can find.
No. It looks like something else.
No, I know exactly where you're going with that. Where I'm going with this is a player support report, because 19 told you about the things they fixed. I'm going to tell you about the things they broke. So, hey, those crystals made by your Rhymecoat Raiment exotic chest don't reliably grant Devour while Feed the Void is equipped. While Feed the Void is equipped. So sometimes the crystals work, sometimes they don't. So, sorry, Warlocks. Your enhanced recycled energy grants no energy back. So they've enhanced it so far, it's gone back to 0. The champ title still lost its gilded status. When speaking to a vendor, guess what? Voices are still overlapping, which can still be very confusing. Hey, but don't worry, the Drowning Labyrinth quest that you're not able to be completed by some players because steps 6 and 9 are broken, still are. Sometimes in the derealized exotic mission, your Taking Relic can still drop below the floor and the risk can counter. Your Shriekers, you're thinking, oh, I'm doing so much good, lovely critical damage, I'm getting the good yellow numbers of critical damage feedback in the Sunder Doctrine Shrieker bosses. Nope, it's still just regular base damage. But don't worry, when you're tracking Ikora's Drowning Labyrinth quest, completion of certain steps may stop progress on the next steps. Sometimes, but not always, a Tomb of Want Primer quest does not progress after meeting step 3 and 4 requirements. Your Memento shaders, you can still see them on armor. They're still never going to work on armor. So you can preview them, screenshot them, but that's all you're ever going to get. And your Seeking Filaments and Sphere of the Filaments still can't grant Devour with a Facet of Protection equipped. So Devour is just not devouring, basically, is the takeaway from this. And don't bother doing Sunder Doctrine quests, because it's mostly broken. And that's it. That's all they're telling us is broken. There's plenty more that is broken. Probably half the list from before is still broken. They just took it out of the list every week. But then we have some Brig artwork and tanks, and we have people doing silly things in momentum control. And yeah, that's it.
That's the TWAB. Oh my word. So there's no mention of Destiny Rising, that there's going to be a beta version. So if you're on mobile, you can play your Destiny Rising. No. You'd think that being Destiny would be in the TWAB, not, a couple of weeks back when we had all that marathon stuff in the TWAB, that had nothing to do with Destiny. You'd think that something had to do with Destiny would be in the Destiny TWAB. Again, Bungie.
You would think they would look for any sort of like good news or positive vibes or good sentiment, or at least just not negative. You think they would say, hey, here's something that can't be bad, and if it is bad, we can blame NetEase on it. But we're just not going to mention it. We're just not even going to acknowledge it exists, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, so apparently if you go to your app store and you search up Destiny Rising, you can, I think you just click the button to say, where it would normally say download, it says something like, oh, you want to sign up for the beta that's coming, and you click the button and it says coming soon, so you can get to play soon, I guess, when they decide that they're going to release the beta so you can play it. So that's pretty cool. It's on iOS and Android, I think.
So my question to you, 19, is, can you go to your app store and can you hit the button?
I did, and I've got a tick.
Ooh.
It says coming soon, expected 31st of August 2025. But I'm not sure if that's
the current launch date is not final.
That is probably the launch date for me, but maybe if the beta's coming before that, because the beta's meant to be coming, I think it's the 29th of May. So maybe there'll be an update like saying, oh, it'll download and say, oh, you can now play it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I see the same, current launch date, August 31st, 2025. But then the very first line is, please note, the current launch date is not final. So, which I'm assuming is like their actual launch date in the beta, because they have to do that through test flight. So that'll be through a different piece of the App Store. Well, it's nice that it's not just US only, and hopefully they took all that good streamer feedback and people who played in the alpha and made it into a decent thing. I downloaded it then, never really played it because I kind of forgot it existed and that I don't want to play things on my phone. But now it seems to work on iPad too, so that's more enticing to me.
Yeah, Donnie sent me a video. I was like, that looks so cool, but it's a freaking mobile game. And he's like, BlueStacks on PC makes it a PC game. I'm like, bruh.
You can mouse and keyboard it. It's possible. Yeah, so that's coming. Let's see. Where did I put it? The only report roundup-ish items this week were basically things being broken. Big shock there.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you didn't do the Spire of the Watcher dungeon last week, like just didn't complete it at any point, you couldn't activate the initial elevator to get you up to the second platform to claim your, reward for doing the Ghost of the Deep dungeon. So you just couldn't, which was confusing because I went up the first platform and was like, well, there's nothing here. Then I was like, well, let me try the second, which again, not clear at all. I was like, let me go up the second platform. Maybe that's the thing. Oh yeah, if I go to the second platform, that's where the reward for the second dungeon is, which does kind of make sense. So if you think about it that way, but there's nothing to say, hey, keep going up. There's another platform here. But we're investigating an issue where players who didn't complete Spire of the Watcher for Rite of the Nine cannot use the lifts in the Nine realm to open the Ghost of the Deep chest. So, sorry, should have gotten your one clear because now Bungie says you don't get to have anything else.
I did get it clear, and last week it still wouldn't let me open the stupid chest.
Yeah, but you could get to the chest.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
this week you can't even get to the chest.
Open it.
Yeah, I mean, this week you can't even get to the chest. But I mean, did you do it too fast? Did you not give them like 3 to 7 business days to actually make the content work?
Wow.
And they also wanted to clarify that to get your adept version of your Rite of the Nine gear from the lovely chest with the lady with the feet, you first must actually complete the Rite of the Nine adept, complete the... God, I cannot read this morning. Players must earn adept versions of the Rite of the Nine gear before they can drop from the non-array manifold chest next to the emissary. So you actually need to get one to drop before you can then go, to the chest.
So it's like Trials and any other kind of place like Nightfalls and things. You have to have the adept version drop for you first before you can go and get the actual item again for throwing currency at them.
But then how did I get some of those to begin with? Because when the chest first got here, like all of the things I got from the chest were adepts.
The random chest will sometimes randomly give you adepts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, slot machine chest still is a slot machine. Okay. Yeah, but that's basically all they had to say, other than that other game that happened that they're still, I guess, trying to make happen. But what videos have you watched this week, 19? What should the people be watching? What should they be learning?
Well, I did watch the Inside Bungie's Decline with former Devs Speak Out with Destiny Liguri, from former IGN reporter, and I don't know what else I think he was producer as well. And I've always liked his content and found it very interesting. But it always, when anybody's kind of talking about going up against a company, they work for a company, and HR are kind of on the side of the company, and they did this and they did that, and they were all for the company or all for themselves. I'm like, that's how HR work. They are not employed.
They're not your friends.
For you. No, they are not your friends. If you phone HR with an issue, they are not doctors. They have not got a doctor-patient confidentiality agreement with you. They will go straight to X, Y, and Z, report X, Y, and Z, and say, right, we have an issue. How do we deal with it? Let's deal with it. They're not your friends. At the end of the day, they could be your friends in real life, but they work for the company in that capacity to help the company maintain
the grip on you as a peasant.
Yeah, I mean, their job is to look after the human resources.
Yes.
You at the company. They're looking after you, the resource who is human, just like the IT looks at the people who are at the technology of the company. They are not your friend. They are not to do the best thing for you. They're out for the company's best interest. You, my friend, are not the company.
Yeah, I'm not saying that anything that the kind of company. I'm not condoning anything that that has been alleged that Bungie have been doing or have done is good or bad. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just saying that HR work for the company or whoever they're employed for. So it's very hard to to be sympathetic to somebody that's saying, "Oh, HR don't are out for themselves, working in their own best interest." Yeah, of course they are. That's what they're employed to do. You have got to look after yourself in a company. But whatever has been going on behind the scenes, there's so much. And as kind of Destin says, what started as a plagiarism scandal around Marathon has now kind of kicked off more things with like what's actually happening behind the scenes at the studio and former like devs and leaders and things that leader mismanagement. And Joe Blackburn, Christopher Barrett, and Pete Parsons are all kind of mentioned in it. And it's like, as the company gets bigger and kind of more things kind of come out about it, it's very hard to kind of defend the company, but I still love the game kind of thing.
Yeah, just stop stealing stuff. If you get somebody's work, pay them. It's not a difficult concept.
No, but the thing is, we were talking before the show last week. We didn't put it into the show because it has no bearing on Destiny, but it's having a knock-on effect with the Destiny community, as well as kind of the people who still work for Bungie and the people that don't work for Bungie, because it's kicking up all this animosity and bad feelings and things that actually have or haven't happened. And we've still got that controversy with the Red War, and we've got other things where people are saying, "Oh, Bungie are copying this is happening," or this, behind the scenes, I was treated like this, and it all kind of. I think at this point, when a lot of people are saying they want Sony to come in and just go, right, we're taking over, right, that's it. You've had your day. We're going to take over, and we're just going to make Destiny the game that you all want to be, and we're going to put new people in here, and here, and maybe Marathon will still get developed. We're not entirely sure, because from all the videos this week, it's like Marathon is cooked, Marathon is done, and I kind of agree with them.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah.
I mean, Marathon seems like it was I basically agree with you. For everything we've heard, the Bungie devs and people on the ground doing the work, making the game are phenomenal, and their work shows. It's the leadership that's rotten and making poor decisions, up to and including Marathon, which is apparently, a bunch of guys were playing Tarkov back in the day, and they were like, "Oh, Tarkov's fun. We should do an extraction shooter," and that was years ago. And there've been a couple of other videos from like the Second Wind crew this week about saying trying to chase trends, and even I think it was Astacross had a video of the CEO of the company that makes Tarkov. I can't remember if that was his actual title, but basically talking about Tarkov and just like about both Arc Raiders and Marathon. And basically being like, this is not a big...
Is it ARC or ART? A-R-T or A-R-C?
Well, it's A-R-K. ARC Raiders is the game, but ART with a T Raiders is what people have been tweeting at Bungie and putting in the chat for obvious reasons about Marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, ARK Raiders is the actual name of the game. But he's basically saying like this is not a big field anyway. And he sort of was looking at it from the perspective of, obviously of Escape from Tarkov, going... Basically, why Marathon missed the mark? Because you're not going to get the casual player or the hardcore player. You're, again, trying to find that squishy middle of, we're going to be good for everybody, and now we're good for nobody. But also just, the point of, it's just not a big market. It's not a big mainstream game. Like, extraction shooters are not Fortnite. Like, they're not, I guess Fortnite kind of is one in a way, but
No, isn't Fortnite Last Man Standing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it's not really an extraction shooter. It's a Last Man Standing. You pick up things as you go, but yeah, like it's just not a big enough mainstream market to really go after, and it's weird that people are coming after them, years and years later, going, is there even a market here to be had? And very questionably.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people were saying quite positive about Marathon was its art direction and the way it was, how it felt with the way it looked, kind of thing. And with that now just kind of being blown completely out of the water, it's like, where do they go? Do they just completely shut it down? What is Sony's kind of view on this at this point in time? Because let's face it, they are the parent company now. So our heads rolling behind the scenes, which is why we suddenly got a really tiny TWAB this week, that barely anything in it relating to anything to do with Destiny. And it's like, we need to put something out just because we do this regularly. So we're going to have to put something out and just go, right, this, and this. So maybe something else will come out next week and we'll have to have a bit more explanation in the TWAB and say, oh, by the way, this is actually happening now at Bungie. You just never know.
I mean, I don't want Bungie to go down, right? People are saying, like, Bungie's going to go down, Bungie's this, Bungie's that, because of all the controversy. And there's even other people that are saying, like, once these lawsuits get settled, will they even have enough money to continue doing X, Y, and Z? I don't want Bungie to go down, because I do like their game. As much crap as we give them for just ignoring vault space all these years and how they like to fix broken things that benefit us, but leave broken things that don't benefit us. Just the general scummy type behavior. But overall, the game is a good game, and the franchise is a good franchise. But I don't want them. I don't want this to kill Bungie. You know what I'm saying?
But
or Destiny, I should say.
Is Bungie still Bungie at this point?
See, I don't know.
Is Bungie from what we're reminiscing back to, like, the Halo days? But I bet there's barely only a handful of people that were there with Halo that are still there now, that you could say were or part of the essence of Bungie. And I mean, how companies work. People come in, people go, and you get the dream of working for the company that you really want, but it may not necessarily be the one that you want to stay at.
Never meet your heroes, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people have come and a lot of people have gone, and there have been a lot of people that have been there from day one of Destiny, which are still putting in the effort with Destiny, or they've been shifted over to Marathon because of their expertise. So is Bungie still Bungie at this point, of looking at it through, I suppose, rose-tinted glasses? Or are we kind of hanging on to the idea that Bungie is Bungie? I don't think it. I think it's very much like the other companies that have been taken over by Microsoft. Bethesda and Activision and all those other ones. There's like Microsoft ate them all up, and then they kind of. Are they still those companies now, or are they just using that name to distribute those games that still feel very similar to how they were, but are very different because they have new management, new people working there, and people cross over and go from one to another to back. I mean, they took, when Epic sold Gears to Microsoft and then the Coalition took that over, Ron Ferguson, who was part of the initial kind of Gears of War team, came over to the Coalition as the main director of it all to get Gears 4 and 5 going in that direction. And he's now left and gone, I can't remember now, it's somewhere, it might be Dark Souls or something like that. He's gone to be the main director over there. So they've kind of taken the essence of what Gears was with Epic and tried to continue that with the people that they originally had, but it's now kind of been handed over to the Coalition, who are now, it's not Epic, but it's still Gears of War. It's still kind of going in that direction, kind of thing. And sometimes that's the way companies seem to work. It's like they hang on to the name or they hang on to the franchise, and it's not necessarily the same people that developed it in the first place. Because I think it was Cliff Bleszinski and Ron Ferguson that were kind of the initial ones with Epic and that developed Gears of War and took it through Gears 1, 2, and 3 and so forth, from what I can remember anyway.
But okay, to that point though, like, the company name is important, but like I think the more important thing is the game itself. You know what I'm saying? Like if Bungie went out and somebody else and Sony took over Destiny and Destiny still maintained its Destiny identity, I don't really care, right? But you know, I don't want Bungie to go out because of this. You know, I want them to start paying people for the work that those people have done.
No, I'm not saying not
having
to
these
do
lawsuits, you know, and then, you know.
But I think that's the way it's kind of going, is that Sony will just walk in and say, right, we are taking over. Thank you very much for your hard work. We will take it from here. And, you know, they'll either keep Bungie as Bungie, or it'll be broken up into different parts, but they will still develop the game Destiny. It will still have some of the people that are working with Destiny and more people being brought in. But I feel that that's the way it's slowly going. And I think we saw this when Bungie did sell to Sony, and it was like, is this a good thing? And a lot of people say, yeah, it's a good thing, because, you know, if things go down the pan, you know, Sony will step in. And some people are saying that's a bad thing. Some people are saying it's a good thing.
But Sony's got its high points too. Sony,
I'm not saying
a lot of mean things about Sony, right? But like, as far as stories go, they're really good at stories. I mean, they have so many RPGs. Final Fantasy alone is enough to tell you how good their stories are. And the first two Keyblade games, Kingdom Hearts, right? Those had phenomenal stories, you know? So they can do phenomenal stories. And then Sony's got the backing to, I don't know, make Destiny a franchise, movie, TV show, things like that, if they wanted to go that route, right? So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of good points for Sony. And, you know, maybe Sony does need to jump in and just be like, you know what? We're going to take this in another direction. We're going to focus a lot on the storyline because, I mean, they've already got a great storyline in the Destiny franchise, right? Just keep it going, kind of thing. And then, you know, do something else with it. It doesn't have to stay in the video game realm. I mean, it's great if it does, but I mean, Destiny has got so much potential for the cinema, for the big screen, for TV. You know, I mean, it's got great storylines, and maybe would that be such a bad thing if that happened? You know, if they, because I mean, a lot of people say Destiny 3 is never going to happen, right? The mobile game made by another company is the Destiny 3 that we all wanted to have. But I don't know, man. It's hard to keep track with all this. And the company has just been going sideways a lot, and they've been losing a lot of their devs towards Marathon. But on the bright side, if Marathon does tank, which I don't think would be a bad thing, maybe all those devs. Well, maybe all the devs will come back to Destiny, and you know, and start working on the game, polishing up the game again. You know, like they had been before they were acquired.
Or maybe they'll leave. Maybe they'll leave. But anyway, yes. So
that chance too. So
I will put Destin Laguerre's video in the show notes because it is worth a watch. So yeah, check that out. So I have the Fast Adept solo Ghost of the Deep farm, which Respawn was talking about. And I think this is the bit where you go through the bubble area, and then you, as you said, you go through the different parts where you come up against the acolytes, and there's a light bearing boss that you can kill. Once you kill him, he drops a chest. You can farm the ultimatum mode for this, and then just drop off the edge and restart back at the old checkpoint. Come back, do it again. Apparently, it takes about 5 minutes to do. And I have that from Nodnaz. We've got the new collectibles in the Ghost of the Deep, so there's 2 of those to collect. 360 Gaming TV has you covered for that. Say Wallabra, I was talking about the auto rifle, the Abyss Defiant. He's got you the God Roll for that. The tank Easter egg in the Ghost of the Deep is still there, and 360 Gaming TV has you covered if you want to check that out. The Destiny Rising closed beta test gameplay trailer, I'll put that in there as well. And I think that's it for my videos this week.
For your vidges?
My vidges, yeah.
That's good. I had Mactix put out a good video of a new Hunter Arc build. Yeah,
I saw that, but I was thinking I'd wait for you to kind of go over it. So go over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really good. It is a very aggressive build. You know how the Warlocks can get their supers back every 6 seconds, right? With that fusion rifle. the one that shoots horizontal that I'm currently looking at because I was totally prepared to talk about this right now, and I'm absolutely not. Yeah, Delicatum, yeah. But this version actually uses the Lodestar for the Hunter, because when you build up its arc, you can alt reload it, and when you hip fire it, it jolts a lot of things, and then you get a lot of ion traces, and you get your super back real fast. And you're also very tanky when using the roaming super, and then with the changes to roaming supers, you get it back even faster, right? Because the roaming supers you get back faster and whatnot, so either way, it's a very good build. It's very aggressive. I used it to clear most of the activity of the sunken. Damn it, Sunder Doctrine. No, wait, that ain't it. The activity that we were talking about this whole time, the underwater one, right?
Ghost of the Deep.
Thank you. Yeah, the Ghost of the Deep.
We did Sunder Doctrine yesterday. That was
that's right. But I used it for the most part of what you just said, and it is very, very good. And you are quite tanky even in this activity. But if you're solo, like I am, when that super runs out and everyone's still looking at you like, "What's up?" Yeah, you insta die. So it is better to have at least one person with you just to kind of distract, so you can go do the shenanigans. And the super, it hits so hard if you do the right combo. If you do a light, heavy, so the light will be like 8,000, 10,000, whatever, right? Not that big deal. But when you do light, heavy, that heavy attack hits over 100k. It's a huge discrepancy between the light and the heavy attacks. If you go light, heavy, just like that, right? Because you do like a palm thrust, not the heavy where you just shoot the arc wave out, not that one. You got to do light, and then once you prime the heavy, then you do like a palm thrust, and that just does a ton of damage. So it's melting bosses. Like in the hardest mode, which I'm currently in, which is called, oh god, my memory, I'm going out.
Ultimatum.
Yeah, Ultimatum, right? In the Ultimatum, I was two-shotting those ogres. Two-shotting. And if I primed the melee on two other enemies and I looked towards the ogre and I hit him with that third, I was one-shotting the ogres. It just hits so hard. And then with the Lodestar, you get your super back real fast as long as you're killing enemies and getting those ionic traces. So it's a very, very good, very strong build. I've already saved it as one of my pre-mades. So I have 2 arc pre-mades that are just really good. And
look, you even color coordinate them with arc builds and everything.
Oh, are you watching? Yeah. I do. These are the prismatic, solar, arc, yeah. So
I just use whatever emblem, whatever color, and I'm like, which one was it now? And I flick and I go up and down. And I'm like, oh.
And even the names, I'll do like alpha because that's like my favorite, and then that's another alpha for this one, and then the beta, gamma, things like that, epsilon. So in order, like, all right, this build is this tier, but then they go down from there. But yeah, it's very good. So I would absolutely give it a try. There's a bit of a learning curve because I didn't know how the Lodestar worked, and I'm still working on the Lodestar Catalyst, which all it does is give you aim assist, movement while aiming down sights, and reload speed. So it's not necessary by any means. But
it's also very good in Crucible Lodestar. I've seen a lot of people use that.
Oh, I might have to give that a go if I ever go into Crucible. But yeah, when you hip fire it, it's a trace rifle. When you aim down sights, it's a pulse rifle, which is kind of disarming if you're not used to the weapon. So I had to get used to that. But overall, it's a very aggressive build. You use super back real fast. You're very tanky, and he goes into the whole thing. I mean, he's not shocked by a lot of things. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, this build is really good. Oh yeah, this is good." And then he gives the guys the silver or whatever that came up with the build. But he was very impressed. He was giggling on stream and everything. Like, he really, really liked this build. And after using it myself, I can see why. I mean, even just now, like in Sunder, I keep wanting to say Sunder Doctrine. God, Ghost of the Deep. In the hardest difficulty, I just walked up to the champion. Yeah, I just walked up to him and just boom, 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 and he was dead. Just like 4 combos. Just like that.
Very nice.
Yeah. So you want to go. I still like the Warlock version better because you literally get your Warlock super every 6 seconds. It's crazy fast. But it's a very good build for hunters if you want to spam your super. And it's not just to be clear, the super that you're going to be using is going to be the Arc Staff and not the Gathering Storm. The Arc Staff is a roaming super, and that's the one that gives you that 3-hit combo with the Palm Strike that does devastating damage. So yeah, overall, really good build. And that's really the only video I watched this week because I've been busy.
Peroty?
All right. Well, before we go, we have to say thank you to our lovely, wonderful Patreons. Renard, Callant, and Zuborbit, who cannot be threatened with a good time, despite our many, many efforts. The Outer Dance Group of the Scarlet KM and Dedicated Wham 64. Our wonderful grenade throwers of Golden God 1562, Noble, Fire Squad 1688, The Man Coming from Texas, and Feral. And Gravy Jeff, Deacon's Day 1 Raid Team, in the mines, practicing to be the greatest threat to all of mankind he can be. And thank you to all of our lovely Patreons who have gone to patreon.com/TTH. We appreciate you each and every week. And thank you to all of you, dear Guardians, who've listened to us each and every week. We'll be here next week. We'll be here this week. Thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty 19 and your Hunters no one responds in real life. We are on YouTube. Go there, find us, look at the things, listen to the things, email the show, 2titansandahunter@hotmail.com. You can find the show wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on YouTube for every new update, weekly video, live stream. This podcast itself, it lives there too. If you're saying, didn't you say those nice things about videos or cool links, 2titansandahunter.com will get you to all those places. It has all the show notes for all the shows. If you want to be our lovely patron at Patreon, patreon.com/TTAH. Or if you want a more casual encounter, coffee.com/2titansandahunter. That's ko-fi.com. And if you want to see the thrill of live action, spicy language, and Respawn doing the hard Respawn things, twitch.tv/no-one-respawns in real life. And if you want to wake up early in the US for Trials Tuesday, twitch.tv/2titansandahunter. Go there, hit the bell, hit the button, you'll know what happens. And subscribe to us on YouTube, and you will know everything going on with the game. And we'll be here each and every week to tell you all the things going on. Until next time, gentlemen, say goodbye.
Deuces?
Deuces.
Bye.
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 Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.